You're listening to Life with Herpes, and this is episode 19. Today's episode with Life with Herpes. I'm your host, Alexandra Harbushka, and this is one of my favorites. I know I talk about it all the time. It is the Ask Alexandra section of the podcast or the episodes. I love this because I get to talk to you. I get to hear from you. You guys send me questions. I love getting them in my inbox. So it's fun for me to have this portion of the podcast. So today's question, well, before I get that, how do you submit a question? You go to lifewithherpes.com, you submit it. It's a Google form. Fill it out. You can ask as many questions as you want. And it's fun. Like I said, I get to connect to you. So head on over and do that. And today's episode is from Taylor, Today's question is from Taylor. Taylor is from Chicago, Illinois. I've not been to Chicago, so I've driven through Illinois. I realized that, and I think I'm saying it right because I know there's an S at the end, but Illinois, I think it's Illinois. So Taylor, you can let me know if I'm saying this correctly. But I've driven through, but I have not been to Chicago. So it's definitely a place I would love to go. So I'd love to go visit. Okay, so today's question is a great one, and I'm really glad you asked this, Taylor. Is herpes an STI or an STD? Awesome question. So what is an STD? What is an STI? Okay, STD, which we all pretty much know, STD is sexually transmitted disease. STI is sexually transmitted infection. What's the difference? So up until, and this is off the top of my head, you guys, I would say up until 2000 or right around there. Excuse me while I take a sip of water. Up until about 2000, everything was an STD, sexually transmitted disease. Well, afterwards, people were saying, well, we should call it an infection because a disease sounds so scary or, oh, we don't want to hurt people's feelings or whatever. Well, point blank, whatever it is, sexually transmitted infection or disease is still pretty stereotypical if you ask me. So trying to make it an STI to sound better, I don't know. I still think it's pretty blunt. But yeah, basically what it is a disease or infection. I looked at the definitions of disease and infection. So let me just read them to you. This is just off the dictionary here. I Googled it. Disease is a disorder of structure or function in a human, animal, or plant, especially one that produces specific signs or symptoms or that affect a specific location that is not simply a direct result of physical injury. Okay, so that's disease. A synonym would be illness or sickness. They give an example, bacterial meningitis is a disease. So that's the definition of disease. Definition of infection is the process of infecting, so that's the noun, the process of infecting or the state of being infected. It's an infectious disease, so they kind of use these interchangeably. And a synonym is disease, virus, or virus. So I don't know. They kind of sound the same to me if you ask me, but they are obviously a little bit different. So Taylor, I'm really glad you asked. When you boil it down, is herpes an STD or an STI? I don't really think there's a definition, like call it both. Again, people are trying to get away from using the word STD. They're trying to say, oh, we want to be nicer, call it an infection. It's the same thing. And herpes is an STI. It's also an STD. Point blank, I really think that we're not going to get away from using the word STD. It's been so heavily marketed. used. It's used in jokes. It's used. STI is not as common. People don't, when they hear the word STI, they don't necessarily believe or recognize that they're talking about a sexually transmitted disease. Just to give you a breakdown, 1 out of 4 sexually active adults have an STD or an STI, however you want to refer to it. So 1 out of 4. And I'm not saying 1 out of 4 people have herpes. I'm saying 1 out of 4 people have a sexually transmitted disease. So it is very, very common to have a sexually transmitted disease. And yeah, STI, STD, if you ask me, they're synonyms and they're interchangeable. Like I said, people, I don't know who the people are. I don't know if it's the Center of Disease Control. I don't know who comes up with these little acronyms, but they're trying to use the word STI because it sounds better. But hey, it's the same thing, right? All right, Taylor, thank you for asking this. For those of you that want to be super duper cool and be like Taylor and submit a question, head on over to lifewithherpes.com, ask it, I will answer it in an upcoming episode. And have you joined the Facebook group? Join it. It is fun. We have some discussions over there. Go on ahead over and answer this question. Like, is herpes an STD or an STI? What is your opinion of it? Go on ahead over to lifewithherpes.com. Ask to become a member of the Facebook group. It is secret. I want to make sure I protect your integrity and your privacy. So I do manually add you. So once you let me know that you want to become a member, I manually add you. And that is kind of how it works. All right. Have an awesome day. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you soon, I hope. And thanks. All right. Bye.